When we pick a new game from the main menu, we're instantly treated to an opening cutscene.
At the beginning of the 19th century, almost all of Europe lay in the hands of a single man. Napoleon Bonaparte. This first glorious emperor of France had a favorite saying: "Imagination rules the world."
And then cut to a bunch of cops rushing in to see that his casket has been stolen.
Oh no, no, no! Mon Dieu! The casket, it is gone! Napoleon's casket has been stolen!
We then cut to what looks like the catacombs of Paris, where an older man greets his emperor, who awakens from his centuries-long slumber.
Time to awaken, Emperor.
3 years later, and we're still in France. Deal with it. We meet our main character, who introduces himself as Raphael. He mentions that he used to live with his father, but now it's just him and his dog, Fondue. He then tells us a secret. He's Phantomar. What does that mean? We don't know just yet. We just know that it's showtime! We then get to play our first rhythm game, and it's an incredible start. It's very basic in that you just slide your stylus and timing with these shadow clones, but it's the music and presentation that really sells it. It's very colorful, and the music is just so stylish and optimistic, especially with the song's cool-ass lyrics. I mean, it's Sega, they don't slack when it comes to music. So let's just sit back and enjoy it for a little bit.
3, 2, 1, go! Let's go mayhem, dance to the number, sliding, stepping, tripping in the bumper. Dance so hard every day in the summer. Magical step, feast the piper. Jewel the restaurant, where does cat come from? Drinking it up in the streets and they call him fat. So many, and it's he that danced the most. 3, 2, 1, go!
For the game's soundtrack, we got 3 composers who worked on various tracks for the 3D Sonic games, Super Monkey Ball, and Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. Hell, one composer in particular, Naofumi Hataya, was the sound director and composer, and he's been working with Sega Sound since Sonic 2 on the Genesis. So you're in for a musical treat in this game. Combine that with the visuals of this smooth-ass thief dancing and teleporting all over Paris, and I just wish I was half as cool as him. Oh, look at this good part real quick.
Dance all around, everybody make a shout, get down! I can't catch up until the dawn continues, close to work time. Give it to me, 4:30 time. I got a plan here, let's go. The game is up, go. You can't go.
3, 2, 1, go!
I won't show you the whole minigame, but on my second channel I do have like 100% no-miss versions of these minigames on there, just for viewing pleasure and for my own personal listening pleasure, because although the game does have a soundtrack, it lacks all the visual flair and the sound effects that I love that, is built with the minigame in mind, so they feel shallow compared to actually listening to the video game being played. Anyways, let's move on with the video. Anyways, at the end of every minigame, you get to see your score and rank appropriately. You also get some shiny medals too, which I'll get into more details. They're just currency for stores that become relevant later. After getting through the first minigame, we're formally introduced to Chapter 1, Chance Encounter. We're given the synopsis for Phantomar's goals. His dad abandoned him 3 years ago, leaving behind a single coin as a clue, and this coin has a unique mark. And today, the Louvre has an exhibit for something called the Bracelet of Tiamat, which also contains the same mark as the coin. Which means Phantomar is going to try and swipe it, hopefully to find a clue to where his father went. But there is a catch. Phantomar is well known in Paris for stealing rare artifacts from museums, and then breaking back in to return them a few days later. And that Paris police have been alerted of his upcoming plan, so they have beefed up security in an effort to catch him. We then take control of Raphael in the overworld. The top screen is portrayed in 3D graphics where you move him around to explore different sections of Paris. Meanwhile, the bottom screen displays the current area, with other characters hanging around that can be tapped onto to talk. This little old lady is named Paula. She is Raphael's neighbor. We're given the context that the Fête de Paris is going on, which is a once in a 3 year celebration that takes place. In the next area, an NPC explains that by tapping certain sections of the map in the screen below, you can find some more medals, and possibly other items too. Sounds fun at first, but admittedly, it can be very annoying to stop at every map point and just, tap for a good long minute. I'll get into that later. We're then told to check out the shops where one of them sells music and movies to rewatch. And the other is actually a side quest, where you have to tap on certain objects on the screen to record their sounds. You then bring them back to the shopkeep so he can work on an ultimate instrument. Just a heads up, you can't actually complete this until post-game, so just tap on objects and don't worry about coming back to them until we're all done. Now, back in control, you can rush to the objective by following the path in red. But we're then given a hard stop when R checks out the amusement park and reminisces about his dad.
Papa used to bring me here when I was a little boy.
After stopping by, talking and tapping, we make it to the front of the Louvre, where a cop is already out on patrol. We're forced to take the back entry where Phantomar converses with Fondue. Hehehe, good dog. They spy a shining spot that reveals to be a hidden lock. It's a simple Simon Says puzzle that opens the way to the back of the museum. Fuck! There's more rooms to tap and explore before we come across the main lobby, where the guards are stationed. This leads us to the next minigame, and possibly the most popular, Looting the Louvre. Oh yeah, the minigame that everybody loved. You simply have to touch one of the 4 poses to match the statue that's coming up. Each one has different timings. For example, the blue crouching pose has to be tapped faster compared to the other ones, and the red one has to be tapped slightly after R stops. And yeah, I should address the elephant in the room about the TikTok trend. Much like Raphael copying the pose of the statue, people on TikTok would copy the posts of cursed photos and timing to the music that's used in this game.
3, 2, 1, go!
But let's be honest, Phantomar does it cooler. Each rhythm game has 3 main segments, with a little animated cinematic in between. And I love how Phantomar is having fun and styling on the patrol guards between the transitions. Also, it's very satisfying to hear the popping effect when you time the pose just right. As we proceed further into the Louvre, we're tasked to trying to find a security room. But surprise, it's locked. And thanks to Fondue's barking, Phantomar sees that it uses a voice recognition as a lock. We move forward, find a sleeping patrol guard snoring, and record it. Then we come back and play it in the same room to open the door.
Voice detected. Hello, Joseph. How's your patrol going? Releasing lock.
Easier said than done. Let's let ourselves in, shall we?
Once inside, Phantomar deploys a bit of high-tech tomfoolery. And now it's time to take the bracelet. On the way there, we find a notebook on the ground that gives instructions on the lock for the bracelet. How handy. Once we reach the display, we tap the obvious glowy thing and see the lock that the notebook mentioned. It's a very simple sound puzzle. Simply press the button that corresponds to the sound that doesn't belong. Can you guess? Let's listen again, and I'll let you pause and guess the answer before we proceed. Alright, the answer?
I'm inside your garden.
Nah, it's just this. And now we get this cool looking bracelet. It's time to head out. As we leave, we get another animation, and we see that an ambush was lying in wait for him. We're then formally introduced to the head detective for this case, Inspector Vergier. He's also interested in the mark on the bracelet and wants to question Phantomar for it. And so he will sick Paris's finest rollerbladers after him.
Get him!
No, I wasn't joking. He actually sicks rollerbladers after R. Now we're on to the next minigame, Le Getaway.
Today you rot in jail.
It's a fun and flashy time where you simply press A to hop off the cops and swing off the crowbars. The second phase of the minigame adds in helicopters that swoop in. R needs to slide underneath with the B button, as well as slide through tiny gaps where a small series of jumps usually waits on the other side. The third phase is the same as the second, so just keep hopping until you make your great ape escape.
I'll see you in chains, Phantomar.
We're back in the streets of Paris, where the cops have set up blockades, forcing us to take the scenic route back home. On the way there, we get another animation. A child had accidentally let go of their balloon and starts to cry as it floats away. To cheer them up, this blonde girl shows off her violin skills to help raise her spirits.
There, don't cry.
During this, Phantomar notices the balloon got caught in the tree, so he brings it back to the little girl. R and his violinist meet for just a moment before the cops come running in, forcing Phantomar to run away. In a final shot, we see that this girl's violin glows with the same mark that's on the coin and the bracelet we just stole. And yes, we, because I'm including you into this, viewer. Back to the map, a patrolman blocks the way back home again, so we eavesdrop on him, and we see that this lady in clown makeup named Sarah is looking for her dog. The constable is willing to help at first, but as soon as he finds out that it's a bulldog, he seems to cower out. Poor Fondue's barks can't scare him away, so we have to explore Paris a little bit to find a bulldog to record. We go to this fountain area and see that the bulldog's already biting other people. But an NPC here tells us about another collectible, Phantom Notes. They're a series of notes that you have to tap and find in a row as a mini puzzle. There's a bunch of them, and it unlocks a minigame once we beat the game and find them all. It seems like a fun distraction at first, but it quickly gets boring because, again, you're just blindly tapping half the time trying to find out where they're hidden. I also spoke to this NPC here that mentions that this is the very spot where Marie Antoinette and Louis XIV were executed. Dark. Anyways, we find the bulldog and record its bark, and R compliments the bulldog's owner in his own way.
Good stuff. And boy, it's true what she said. That bulldog was her owner's spitting image.
So we go back to the patrol guard and scare him off by replaying the bark. As we explore further, I run into this damsel worried about what she would do if she were to be abducted by Phantomar and wooed by his wily charms. I mean, it's not just damsels that should be scared. Am I right, fellas? Right? Oh. Our way home is interrupted yet again when we meet Marie once again. She's being chased not by the cops, but by knights in armor. Phantomar notices the mark on her violin, but we can't focus on that yet, because we're met with Napoleon himself.
This some kind of reenactment? You can't possibly be Napoleon. He died 2 centuries ago.
There is a power in this world which clearly defies your pitiful imagination, mon ami. Now then, ma petite chérie, you will return the dragon crown to its rightful owner.
What are you talking about?
The times they change, but people never. Always the ignorant cretins getting in the way of greatness. To arms, my loyal servants!
And now we transition to the next minigame. It's another simple yet catchy rhythm game where you use the A button to punt the knights on the right and the D-pad to punt the knights on the left.
Enough child's play, to battle!
By the second phase, they try to throw you off by having both sides assault you at the same time, but time it with the music and you should be able to style on them. The end of the phase tries to throw a curveball by having a large knight drop down and you have to tap to get rid of him, but he's gone longer than I can even finish a quarter of the sentence.
What are you doing? Quickly! Beat, beat!
The third phase can be a bit overwhelming for first-timers since they start to close the gap and appear on both sides simultaneously. But we got two hands, so let's give them both.
Someone's not feeling it.
When the game is over, we're treated to another animated cutscene where Phantomar uses breakdancing as a self-defense technique. He then grabs the girl by the hand. Wow. Napoleon is shocked that he's bold enough to do that on the first date. But then Phantomar not only leaps over the pier and onto a boat, but then proves to be superhuman in that he just casually leaps from boat to boat. Like, there's no denying he's not human, man, come on. And as the group land on the opposite side of the river, we get this cool-ass frame. And show's over for the first chapter.
Show's over! That night was the start of everything. The mystery of the mark my father left, Napoleon's lost treasure, and the crown that was a map to a key. Little did I know what adventures were in store for me.